Ladies and trans ladies, we must allow minors access to...
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Recording. I'm going to start off this video by making my point very, very clear. These creeps belong in jail. There's a reason the saying is they don't reproduce, they recruit. Here we have a Minnesota lawmaker saying the quiet part out loud, and it's not the first time that they've said or done something like this. And I'm going to look at a couple of things that, in my opinion, should disqualify this individual from partaking in civilized society for maybe ever. These people litter our political ranks. They litter our schools, our teaching positions, our school boards, our administrations, our after-school clubs. They are absolutely everywhere. And this is partly why I try to really encourage conservatives or just normal people to get into teaching and get into volunteering, because there's literally no getting rid of these creeps. Let's go to this video clip here. Trans-identified Minnesota Congressman Leah Fink said that LGBTQ kids need access to spicy websites for, quote, educational purposes. It's time to sweep this creep's hard drive. Pure evil. Now, just so you don't think I'm making this up, he said this last week on file at a government meeting.
You mentioned the Paxton case, and the AGs in many states are very clear about that. They're almost jubilant about.
This is a biological man, just so we're all clear, just so everyone knows. Uncover my face there.
Being able to use these laws to ban young people from accessing content that could be educational if they are queer.
Literally prawn websites. Now, apparently they need access to that. Now, I have come to believe through the years that society's fixation, society's like addiction to these type of videos. Look, I've very famously, it's not like I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've never watched these type of videos. I never saw the magazines when I was young, and I never, obviously, right? But now as a 42-year-old, I see the damage that they can cause. I've seen it destroy marriages. I've seen it make things fall apart. And I know the truly demonic end game of the people that produce these type of videos. And I think that the insane increase in their availability, like, look, you're never going to get rid of it altogether, but these type of videos have never been more available than they are right now, never more easily accessible. And coincidentally, we have more people than ever who are identifying as LGBTQ. We have more people than ever who are particularly identifying as trans, probably because they're exposed to these type of videos at a young age. And we have more people than ever going into hockey rinks, schools, and other public places and taking out their frustrations from a lifetime of mental illness and addled minds from these type of videos, and taking other people's lives. I think that it's all related. Obviously I could be wrong, but I think that it's all related.
And you're a principal. You have LGBT students in your school, and we also know that they're not receiving sex education for queer kids.
What?
We know
it's
that
no different.
Prurient interest could be, for many people, the very existence of transgender kids. More and more people are saying there simply are no transgender kids. You mentioned the Paxton case, and the AGs in many states
so we're clear,
are very...
There is no such thing as a trans kid. There is an extremely small percentage of youth that suffer from a thing called gender dysphoria. It's a real thing, not dissimilar from, let's say, body dysmorphia, where you have these like, anorexics or, stuff like that. You also have on the other side of the spectrum, these people who are like super heavy lifters, like on roids and all this stuff, and their body's never big enough and their muscles are never big enough. And it is a true mental problem to, you know, it doesn't make them bad people. It's just something they're dealing with. And the answer is not to inundate them with more disgusting videos. The answer is to treat them. Now, I don't know what the best treatment is, but I can tell you that it isn't, you know, giving a perfectly healthy 14-year-old a double mastectomy. We now know for a fact that does not happen. And you see this, you know, trans Minnesota Democrat bizarrely argues that LGBTQ kids need access to those type of websites for educational reasons. Isn't it bizarre considering the quote identity of the man in question revolves around acting out his deviant impulses in front of non-consenting adults? If anyone said this 10 years ago, they'd be arrested. Oh, and it gets worse. I'm going to show you what this lawmaker is also working on. Okay. Remember when they said calling these people groomers was evil? You know, the outrage should be he was testifying in front of a legislature instead of a jury. I mean, what is going on here? At some point, people have to have the strength to say enough is enough. You know, like enough is just enough. There's no more fighting it. There's no more like, I don't care if you ban me. You know, here's a sign. It's not just rocket science. They're just evil and they want to diddle kids. All this stuff, right? You want to know what this, you want to say, well, Jeremy, that is kind of a weird thing, but you know, how do we know that this person's like totally out of their mind? Well, let's look what else this individual is working on. Transgender Representative Leah Fink in Minnesota has introduced a bill that will remove the exclusion of PEDs, chomos, from the protected class of orientation, making it illegal to discriminate against them. That's what they're also working on. The same person, okay? Gender identity means a person's inherent sense of being a man, woman, both, or neither. A person's gender identity may not correspond to their assigned biological birth and to their primary or secondary characteristics. Sure. And again, I don't think like, you know, again, if you have gender dysphoria and you're kind of trying to work through that and you're trying to understand that, I'm praying for you, and it is weird. You know, Learn to Read It says the exact opposite. I don't think so. And let's go to the New York Post article about, you know, covering this more in depth. State Representative Leah Fink, a two-term Democrat who identifies as a woman, pushed back. I mean, like, I don't care if they're a Democrat or a Republican. It doesn't matter to me. If you are pushing this stuff, you should not really be looking over anybody. You shouldn't have power over anybody. You have enough personal problems that you need to worry about, right? The politician claimed that the attorney generals in states with age verification laws are jubilant at the chance to block LGBTQ kids from spicy content that could, quote, educate them about their orientation and this, that, and the other thing. Like, again, this is about the ban for, like, you know, those websites, those spicy websites. They have them age gated in states. Now, any kid knows basically these days how to get a VPN and get around it. Just like dad putting his magazines underneath his bed didn't really hide it from kids, or locking a drawer but putting the key right next to the drawer didn't really stop it. You know, and you know, like, I get that, but maybe we don't have to be out there and like trying to make laws. Try to not pretend that what this individual is trying to do is create more people like them, at least in my opinion. You're a principal, you have LGBTQ students in your school, you know, their level of education, you know, around bedroom activities should be no different than a straight kid. You get STDs the same way, you make babies the same way. You know, the lefty lawmaker's odd rant sparked outrage after Moms of Liberty, a conservative parents group, shared a clip of the remarks on X. What a strange but not shocking in the least position to take, one user blasted. Another said, it's concerning that Leah Fink prefers young ones have access to this type of content. Yeah, it is concerning. Several digital naysayers accused Fink of grooming, branding them as a predator, and called for him, New York Post, are we using preferred pronouns, to be removed from office. They aren't even hiding the fact they want to groom kids and inundate them with these videos. One critic raged, while another called their stance pure arrogance and stupidity. One person commented that the clip was midterm ad material. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Fink's Minnesota's first trans elected official. Minnesota is beyond saving. You know, like, I mean, they have Ilhan Omar. They have all sorts of these, like, you know, crazy people in their government. And I just imagine if, like, somebody had just made this argument, but you took the word LGBTQ out of it. And you had some lawmaker that was like, hey, actually, kids need access to this stuff. Hey, kids need access to this stuff. I mean, I would say this individual needs their browser history checked. This individual is not a politician. They are very, very weird. Any adult, I don't care how they identify, pushing this kind of stuff on kids should be arrested. What has happened to our society that we cannot recognize groomers as the exploiters of kids? Instead of arresting them, we vote them in office. It sure seems like it to me. Anything is okay if you're gay. So they make the site and they're like, 18, under 18, I'm gay, let me in. It is blatant what they're doing. And this person needs to be removed from office and probably have the hard drive checked immediately. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and follow down below. We'll talk again real soon.